roots to branches, digging in our past to evolve our future. The branches can only extend out when the roots are strong. So our journey is to unpack and heal our roots.
The feeling of racial pride is not new for many African Americans, but the resurgence of black awareness and pride, black men and women face new problems, not only in relation to white society, but to each other in a black society. Recently, there has been a stream of articles on this subject, and the Chicago Daily Defender, America's largest black newspaper, began a series some weeks ago on the emergence of the new black woman. Benny Washington, reporter for the paper, surveyed the Chicago scene to report on how black men and women believe the revolution in racial pride will affect them and their families, before the sociologists and experts tell us how we are supposed to react.
As a reporter for the Chicago Daily Defender, and as a black woman married to a black man, I've become deeply aware of the effects of this new black revolution on the relationship between black man and black woman. I see it among my own friends, and I also see it in my home. But the most revealing and the most vocal statements about what the new black man expects from the new black woman came when I met with a group of young unmarried friends one Saturday afternoon.
I think that what's happening in America as far as black men, black women is concerned is that there's a revolution within a revolution. We are fighting our own woman. Our woman will not allow us to emerge as black men. No. But our black women, who has been put in this role of aiding white America, white structure, and castrating the black male, has continued doing this. She cannot live with us. It's not that we can't live with her.
Are you blaming us? Are you saying that it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming black America women. I just said that I'm blaming the system. They are victims of the system like the black male.
Well, why do you say that we are castrating you? You say that you want to be the leaders. Okay, well, what about the black professional woman? Are you saying that there should be no black professional woman? Are you trying to deny black women the right to be creative?
Blackness in America is complicated, to say the least. And from an outside perspective, not understanding everything that we go through could be confusing. So much of the ways that the world views us is through a stigmatized lens, a confusing stigmatized lens that doesn't narrate the true essence of what blackness really is. The more that we go into the nuances of what blackness is and actually dissect even the complicated parts that go into masculinity and femininity within our community, we can actually see the things that have been painted to help us look at the world through this very racialized, stigmatized lens. The 1970s was the beginning of a new thought, a new way of moving, a new style of activism. During the 1970s, they were shedding off the old ideas of civil rights and moving into a more radical view. With the rise of the Black Panthers and young activists like Stokely Carmichael of the time, there was a transition in the ways that the world was actually looking at change. This was the beginning of a new style of blackness, an embracing of where we came from, who we were, and how we chose to engage this world that we lived in. Now, within this raise of consciousness, there was also a reach back that ended up happening during these times. Now, during the 1960s, there were movements that happened like the Nation of Islam, or the FOI. And there was also the Civil Rights Movement with Martin Luther King. But if we go just a little bit further back in time, when we start thinking about Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Booker T. Washington, this is actually the spark of what really motivated the youth in the 1970s, late 60s, early 70s. Now, within this time frame, the young people were shedding off this needing help from the system mentality and embracing being self-sufficient and get it yourself. This was something that was presented through the Black Panthers, which they engaged their community with serving the young people breakfast. This is something later that was implemented within schools, but the Black Panthers were the root of that. And the more that we go down this actual black hole of history, the more that we will realize that so many of the changes, so much of the activism, so much of the movement that has happened here on this quote unquote American soil was started not just by black folks, but young black folks who wanted to engage the world in a brand new way. And they did that through music, social, and physical engagement of dance, and also looking back into the past and finding themselves there. The breakdown of the black family starts to really be noticed towards the early 1970s. Within the early 1970s, we start to see there is a separation between the black man and black woman. Now, the years before 1965 and 1960, the black family was actually statistically more cohesive than even a white family. But throughout the civil rights movement, we slowly start to see within the fight for revolution a breakdown within the actual engagement between the black man and black woman. Now, as integration comes into existence, one of the things that you'll start to notice is that there's also a pride within culture, a pride in the ways that we see ourselves. But within that pride, we slowly start to see the breakdown of the black family. The 1970s is one of the most essential times to what we're currently dealing with when we're talking about the actual breakdown of the black family. The more that we go into affirmative action, welfare, and the ways that we were grafted into the system, the more that we see that the black family did not benefit. In fact, we went backwards within the 1970s into the 1980s. And the more that we do the research, we can actually see that through television, through movies, through everything that was indoctrinating us during those times, through youth culture, these stigmas and stereotypes are the very things that break down the black family for the next 40 years. So as we start to look at where we're currently at within society, most of the things that we look at that have been breaking us down has been socially conditioned and programmed within the fibers of our community that is recent history. It's not something that happened a whole long time ago. Yes, slavery did play a significant part of the trauma that we're unpacking, but the recent history of the actual revolution, or the quote unquote so-called revolution that we go to for our current times as a self-reflection place of where we're currently at, is very much the reason that we're currently battling these ideologies and stigmas. Am I saying that the revolution was the only problem? No. But what I will say is very intentional in the ways that our families have been broken down within the last 40 years to self-reflect and look at where we're currently at. You can pinpoint that all the way back to the first killing of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evans, and also the imprisonment of the Black Panthers and the killing of Fred Hampton. These all play significant parts of what we're currently dealing with. I plan on going more in depth within the state of our condition and where we're at within these narratives within the next few episodes. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this style of content.